Good evening. I'm Assistant Superintendent Pete Jabian. It's my honor to welcome you tonight to our annual Veterans Day program. We're gathered especially honor our employees and community members who have served in any branch of the military. I would also like to welcome those of you who have joined us to recognize those veterans as well as some of our very talented students who are going to perform for you tonight. I would like to direct your attention first to the artwork on both sides of the room. The display this month is from Pontchartrain Elementary, and their teacher is Miss Paula Orso. Now we will have the presentation of colors by the Covington High School Navy JROTC under the direction of retired Senior Chief Petty Officer Dale Robeson of the U.S. Navy. Cadets presenting the colors will be Matthew Jabase, Micah Dahl, Sarah Sharp, and Sadie Sharp. Please rise as our flag is presented. Leading the pledge and performing the national anthem will be Pearl River High student Kelsey Parker.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward, march, left, left, right, 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 left,
Thank you, Covington Junior ROTC and Kelsey Parker. Wonderful job. You may be seated. Our board is pleased to host this annual program tonight, and I would like to recognize in our audience Superintendent Trey Fos and Assistant Superintendent Cheryl Araby. Please stand. Also, our board members that are here tonight, Ms. Beth Heinz, President. I'm going to go ladies first. Peggy Seeley, Robin Mullet. I see our board vice president, Mr. Womack. He's already standing. Ms. Mary Kay Belisario. Mr. Mike Derman. Mr. Ron Betancourt. Mr. Neil Hennigan, Mr. Jack Luke, Mr. Willie Jeter, Mr. Charles Harrell. And I'd like for Mr. Bedencourt to please rise again. Mr. Bedencourt is a veteran and on our board, and we'd like to recognize him tonight also for that. Clearly, an important element of our mission as a public school system is to promote citizenship. We want to mark this occasion by recognizing our employees who have served in the military, because we believe that you stand as the most significant example we can provide to our students of fulfilling the duties of citizenship through military service. As veterans who also serve the children of our school system, you are especially due recognition by our community. The service you have provided to our country in safeguarding all of us, as well as the roles you play in helping to provide educational opportunities to our students, make you extraordinarily worthy of our respect and esteem. As a show of respect, I would like to ask at this time for all veterans who have served or who are in active military service right now, especially those who work in the school system, as well as those who are representing community organizations, please stand so that we may honor you with our applause. Thank you. At this time, Supervisor Margaret Sharp will come to the podium to individually recognize our JROTC officers and the cadets representing their school organizations.
As our very special guest tonight, I will be introducing to you those officers who sponsor the JROTC programs in each of our 8 high schools. Joining them tonight will be cadets from the high school. From Covington High, as I call your name, I wish as a group for you to stand, and then we will applaud at the end. Covington High, Navy JROTC, Senior Chief Petty Officer Dale Robeson, Commander Doug Johnson, Cadet Lieutenant Sadie Sharp, Cadet Micah Doyle, Cadet Matthew Jabasi, and Cadet Sarah Sharp from Covington High. Thank you. From Fontainebleau High School, Army JROTC, Sergeant First Class Frederick Losh and Cadet Major Andre Prather. From Lakeshore High School, Army JROTC, Major Paul Vorenkamp, Sergeant First Class Samuel Chapman, and Cadet Major Stephanie Nimiak. Thank you. From Mandeville High School, Marines JROTC, Lieutenant Colonel John Cassidy, First Sergeant Jose McGee, Cadet Major Ryan Plessy, and Cadet Major Adrian Lopez. From Pearl River High School, Navy JROTC, Chief Carl Van Leeuwen, Commander Timothy Lane, Cadet Lieutenant Commander Alexis Johnson. From Salmon High School, Army JROTC, Lieutenant Colonel Bruce Wilson, Cadet Mark Lejeune. And from Slidell High School, Navy JROTC, Captain Jimmy Jones, Master Sergeant Chris Guthrie, Cadet Lieutenant Junior Grade Ryan Fife. From North Shore High School, Sergeant First Class Anthony Ikamina, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Bratcher, and Cadet Major Stevie Smothers. Thank you.
We'll now have a very special patriotic message about freedom brought to you by some of our talented theater students from the following schools: Abita Springs Elementary, Shataima Elementary, Magnolia Trace Elementary, Mandeville Elementary, and Woodlake Elementary. The talented theater teacher of this group is Miss Christina DeRosier. Assisting her with this group is Talented Arts Assistant Coordinator Donna Laurent.
What is freedom? I don't know. I guess the right to come and go and speak my mind. I wonder though, what is freedom? I'm not sure. I think it means to feel secure, no matter if you're rich or poor. What is freedom? Seems to me it means the right to disagree and do a lot of things for free. What is freedom? Who oh who knows this meaning through and through? We can spell it out for you. Can you? Will you? Come, please do. F is for a future, freedom to hold it, safe from retard, seeking to mold it. R for religion, freedom in choosing the church and the doctrine we wish to be using. E for being an equal, freedom of action, in making our way to our own satisfaction. E, education, freedom of learning, thinking, inquiring, believing, discerning. D for discussion, freedom of speaking, what we believe without cringing and creaking. O for occupation, freedom to choose it, freedom to keep it, change it, or lose it. M for materials, money to earn them, freedom to buy them, freedom to spurn them. What is freedom all about? Now you need no longer doubt, since we spelled the whole thing out. Yes, from all that we have heard, that is freedom in a word.
Talk about talent, huh? Awesome. Sean. Sean Noel is a 13-year-old 7th grader at Mandeville Junior High School. He's a Boy Scout working toward his Eagle rank, an honor student, and is the founder of several regional and statewide charities. His Warm Hearts program, co-founded with his sister, Annie, is in its 8th year of collecting warm clothing and blankets that are distributed throughout a 5-parish region. Sean's Factor is the name of his foundation that raises funds to send children with hemophilia to a medically staffed summer camp for free. But it's his dedication and respect for our parish veterans and active service members that have brought him here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Sean Noel as he shares with you his inspirational program known as St. Tammany Remembers.
Valiant, fearless, and intrepid are all words I use to describe our national heroes, our veterans. They stepped forward and stood bravely in the line of fire, a task not many can claim. Our nation's heroes took that challenge and endured our praise and scorn equally. But make no mistake, their strength and their courage are both honorable and noble. I'm aware and of in constant awe of the sacrifices made to ensure my freedom. The pluck and valor necessary to safeguard every inalienable right listed in our Constitution is a direct result of a veteran sacrifice. Our safety and our independence rested assuredly on their shoulders as they bore that weight without fail. Our world, although often in turmoil of oppressive governments and religious fervor, is a better place because of their service and dedication to order and democracy. It is with sincere appreciation and admiration that I call our veterans heroes. Not everyone answered that call to service. Not everyone looks at our American flag and instantly realizes that the reason that flag is raised high and fluttering in the breeze is because of a direct result of a veteran sacrifice. From our fear of the unknown during World War I and World War II, to the indifference of the 70s, to the pride and strength in recent years, our nation is moving forward to rightfully honor and respect all of our service members. Many would say we are late to the party with our thankfulness, but my opinion stands firm. At least we are having the party. I relish the opportunity to spread the message of indebtedness and appreciation to our veterans. I think my generation, perhaps more than any other, gets the point. We were born during the triumphs of Desert Storm, Operation Allied Force, and the War on Terror. I was just 6 months old when the terrorists orchestrated the attack on our own soil in 9/11. I've grown up alongside a nation that is proud and determined to protect our country and its people. My generation will remember. My generation will be proud to continue the legacy of our veterans. They are our heroes, and we will never forget. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Wherever he's going, I'm going. I told him when I grow up, I want to work for him. At this time, a special military medley will be performed by members of the Fontainebleau Junior High Band under the direction of Mr. Mike Sambola. Veterans, we ask that you please stand as you hear the melody associated with your particular branch of the service, and your emblem appears on the screen behind me. So, with that, Mr. Sambola, we're ready. Thank you again, Mr. Sambola, Fountain Blue Junior High Band. Let's hear it one more time for these guys over here. Now, school board member and military veteran Ron Bedencourt will now share a resolution that will be read later tonight at the committee as a whole meeting to officially acknowledge our veterans. Mr. Bedencourt?
I'm honored to read this resolution. Whereas since the birth of this nation, men and women from all walks of life have answered the call to duty to support and defend the founding principles of this country. And whereas members of America's armed forces put duty above all else to help preserve our freedoms and protect against tyranny with courage and dedication. And whereas in our defense, these heroic individuals have endured personal sacrifices, injury, and death. And whereas we recognize and appreciate the many qualities shared by those who have served or are currently serving in the military, including patriotism, valor, and self-sacrifice. And whereas we are inspired by their heroism and devotion to preserving our freedom. And whereas we always must remember their honorable contributions to ensuring our peace and security, and must ensure the youth in our communities understand that the freedom and prosperity we enjoy is built and sustained in large measure by the valuable service of our country's armed forces. And whereas we especially are grateful to and honor the St. Tammany Parish Public School System employees who have served our country in the military. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the St. Tammany Parish School Board acknowledge and appreciate the dedicated service of all who previously served or are currently serving in the armed forces of this country, and encourage all citizens to honor them, especially on Veterans Day, November 11, 2014. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of this board, with a copy being sent to all schools within the school system to post as a sign of respect and gratitude to our armed forces, past and present. Thank you.
We'll close our program tonight with the beautiful song, God Bless America, performed for you by Miss Farrah Dawes, a junior from Covington High School.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Awesome job, Farrah. Thank you very much. We appreciate the attendance of all of our veterans who are being honored tonight for your service to our community and our country. Your participation in this event has helped to make our recognition to all veterans a very special occasion. And of course, we thank the students who participated tonight, as well as their teachers and administrators who helped to make sure that the students played an important role in honoring our veterans. Those who were not able to join us tonight will be able to view this program on Channel 13. A special thanks also to Ms. Margaret Sharp and to Mr. Brandon Clanton for helping put this program on tonight. We ask that those veterans who are here tonight please gather in front of the stage for a group photo as soon as we close here. We also want a group photo of all of our JROTC members and their sponsors to come up also, and we'll take a picture there too. Refreshments will now be served in the back of the room. Thank you all for coming. Have a great night.
Welcome to the Committee as a Whole meeting for Human Resources and Education for November 6, 2014. Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Hannigan? Here. Mrs. Hines?
Here.
Mr. Derman?
Here.
Mr. Loop?
Here.
Mr. Harrell?
Here.
Mrs. Tipton?
Here.
Mr. Jeter?
Here.
Mrs. Seeley?
Here.
Mr. Betancourt?
Here.
Mr. Womack?
Here.
Mr. Panks? Mr. Lamarck? And Mr. Alfred?
Here.
Mrs. Belisario? And Mrs. Mullet?
Present. Thank you.
Is ill tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Loop, would you lead us in the invocation and the pledge, please?
Heavenly Father, please assist us in our decisions making tonight. Please keep our students safe and well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Loop. Okay, I see we have no persons requesting time for the agenda, so we're going to move on to item number 5, which is the approval of the minutes for the Committee as a Whole meeting held October 2nd, 2014. Okay, I have Mrs. Hines made the motion with Mr. Betancourt seconded. All those in, any questions from board members or comments? Questions or comments from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda we have for Human Resources, we have Mr. Javier with the Veterans Resolution. Mr. Javier.
Thank you, Ms. Mullet. For those of you that were present just a few minutes ago, what a wonderful program we had in the atrium with all of our veterans and students and teachers to help us celebrate Veterans Day. An important element of our mission as a public school system is to promote citizenship. We wanted to mark this occasion by recognizing our employees who have served in the military because we believe that they stand as the most significant example we can provide to our students of fulfilling the duties of citizenship through military service. As veterans who also serve the children of our school system, they are especially due recognition by our community. The service they have provided to our country in safeguarding all of us, as well as the roles they play in helping provide educational opportunities to our students, makes them extraordinarily worthy of our respect and esteem. And at this time, I would like to ask Mr. Betancourt to read a resolution honoring our veterans.
Thank you, Mr. Javier. The resolution is as follows. Whereas since the birth of this nation, men and women from all walks of life have answered the call to duty to support and defend the founding principles of this country. And whereas members of America's armed forces put duty above all else to help preserve our freedoms and protect against tyranny with courage and dedication. And whereas in our defense, these heroic individuals have endured personal sacrifices, injury, and death. And whereas we recognize and appreciate the many qualities shared by those who have served or are currently serving in our military, including patriotism, valor, and self-sacrifice. And whereas we're inspired by their heroism and devotion to preserving our freedom, and whereas we always must remember their honorable contributions to ensuring our peace and security, and must ensure the youth in our communities understand that the freedom and prosperity we enjoy is built and sustained in large measure by the valuable service of our country's armed forces. And whereas we especially are grateful to and honor the St. Tammany Parish Public School System employees who have served our country in the military, Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the St. Tammany Parish School Board acknowledge and appreciate the dedicated service of all who have previously served or are currently serving in the armed forces of this country, and encourage all citizens to honor them, especially on Veterans Day, November 11, 2014. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of this board, with a copy being sent to all schools within the school system to post as a sign of respect and gratitude to our armed forces, past and present, and I so move.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a unanimous second. Do we have any comments from board members? Any comments from the public? Motion carries. Oh, I did that backwards, didn't I? Oh, well. Mr. Folse, I believe we have a celebration tonight.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, you're up.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Mullett. Board members, tonight we are honored to recognize Tchefuncte Middle School for being selected as a National Blue Ribbon School for the year 2014. This coveted award is given out by the U.S. Department of Education based on overall academic excellence. And I'm happy to tell you that Tchefuncte Middle is the 8th St. Tammany Parish Public School to receive this award. Tchefuncte Middle will be one of only 287 public schools across the country that will be honored in Washington, D.C. next week at the National Blue Ribbon Awards ceremony. This award is not the work of any one person. It is the hard work and dedication of many students, parents, faculty, staff, administrators. For that reason, I would like to start off tonight by introducing to you the former principals who have helped Tchefuncte Middle earn this prestigious award. First off, the first principal who opened Tchefuncte Middle in 1994, Mr. Bill Brugman. Thank you for being here. Mr. Brugman served from 1994 until 2001. And in 2001 is when Roxanne Lagarde took over, and Roxanne was Tchefuncte's principal from 2001 until 2007. Roxanne, thank you for being here. And then in 2007, Laura Norsworthy was named principal and remained at Tchefuncte Middle until her retirement in 2013. Laura, thank you for being here. At that time, Dr. Mitch Stubbs was named principal of the school. Mitch, stand up, please. And as you can see, we have many honored guests with us. We're going to show the video that Channel 13 put together first. Then I'm going to ask Mitch to come up and introduce all of our guests and to share with you a little bit more all the exciting things that are going on at Tchefuncte Middle. So take a look at the video that Channel 13 put together for us.
It was a blue ribbon celebration when Tchefuncte Middle School's educators and central office staff came together to celebrate one of the highest honors a school can achieve, designation as a National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. The U.S. Department of Education recognized 337 schools nationwide this year, and Tchefuncte Middle School earned the title. Superintendent Trey Folse recognized educators both past and present for Tchefuncte Middle School's National Blue Ribbon honor.
We always want to make ourselves the best that we can be in our state, but also across the country, and this is an honor that certainly does that. And I know they're proud and excited, and it certainly is a good way to send a message across the state that, you know, we have schools of excellence such as these.
This is a award that is 20 years in the making. So
Principal Mitch Stubbs appreciates the hard work of those earlier educators who laid a foundation of excellence at Tchefuncte Middle School.
You see it every day, the way the children work with these teachers, the way the children and parents work in a partnership. It's that culture of excellence that has allowed this to happen.
I just can't express how excited and thrilled I am, how proud I am of the faculty and staff and the new leadership. And it's every retired educator's dream that the school will go on and continue to grow and be as wonderful as it was when you were there.
That's the exciting thing about Tchefuncte. Status quo is never acceptable. They've always done whatever it took to reach every child every day, and I think that's a true testament of a wonderful, outstanding school.
The National Blue Ribbon School Award acknowledges the hard work of students, educators, families, and communities in creating schools where students master challenging content.
This is great recognition for our staff and for our community.
I'm very excited. This has been a tremendous honor to be a part of the TMS team that went this far and received this tremendous honor.
We're particularly happy that Tchefuncte Middle School has attained that honor today. It just shows that our school in St. Tammany are not only great on the local level, the state level, but on the national level.
And Tchefuncte is indeed great on the national level, and I'm going to ask their principal, Dr. Mitch Stubbs, to come up and introduce the guests, and we have a little certificate that we'll present to all the guests that are here. So, Mitch.
Good evening. Thank you for having us this evening. As Mr. Superintendent Post indicated, this is an award that has been 20 years in the making, the hard work of many individuals, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and a community that values public education. Just to tell you a little bit about our experience, in February of this year, I received word that Tchefuncte Middle had been nominated to receive the award. This is no longer an award that you can go out and apply for and earn yourself. Schools are nominated by the Louisiana State Department of Education. Upon hearing of our nomination, I realized my role was to shepherd the award home. We quickly put together a committee of over 20 teachers and parents and began working on the packet. We had about a month to complete the information and get all of that submitted to the State Department. Tchefuncte was nominated under the recognition category of Outstanding Academic Excellence. There's also a category for Outstanding Academic Improvement. And my hope is this coming spring that we will see many more St. Tammany Parish schools recognized for this type of achievement. So at this time, I'd like to recognize some of our honored guests that we have with us. Some of our students from our Student Government Association. We have Miss Emery Estes, if she would join me at the front, please. Also representing SGA from 4th grade is Catherine Massano. And another one of our 4th grade SGA representatives, Matthew Truehart. Matthew. We also have members of our outstanding PTA organization. We have PTA co-presidents, Ms. Haley Looper and Ms. Catherine Flaherty. If they could join us, please. And two representatives of our hardworking teacher staff, our SGA faculty sponsor, Ms. Darla Foley and Ms. Rebecca Kitchens. So again, thank you. It's been an honor to represent our school system, and I'll be representing our school system in Washington, D.C. next week, and looking forward to it. Thank you.
If I could, I'd like to also present to the principals, the former principal of the school. First off, Mr. Bill Brugman, who's opened the school 20 years ago. And next up was Roxanne Lagarde. Roxanne. Next, Laura Norsworthy. I got to say, the retirees look a lot better than the people working. And last, nothing against you, Mitch, but and last, Principal Mitch Stubbs. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, Dr. Stubbs, and congratulations to all the former administrators for really making Tchefuncte what it is today. A Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. Does anyone have any comments? Okay. Next on the agenda, we are going to have Mrs. Araby with an accountability update. Mrs. Araby.
Thank you. Tonight I'd like to give you an update on our district performance score for 2014, which was released about 2 weeks ago. Our school system, I'm very happy to say, remains an A district. We continue to make gains and increased from 104.6 to 104.9 with an increase of 0.3 of a point. The trend line has continued to move in the right direction over the past 5 years. We now have 24 schools that are A's, 20 schools that are B's, and 11 C schools. We're very proud to report that our school system has no D's or F schools. We will continue to look at the data and work with schools to assist them in providing for their students. Channel 13 has put a video together that shares the good news of our school system, as well as what some of our administrators have to say about their school performance scores. Thank you.
The St. Tammany Parish Public School System saw gains in their latest district performance scores released by the Louisiana Department of Education. The district's performance score rose from 104.6 to 104.9, continuing their legacy as a grade A school district. With 24 A schools, the highest the district has ever earned, 20 B schools, and 11 C schools, and no D or F schools. Those school performance scores are based on various criteria set by the state. Scores are based solely on test scores for kindergarten through 7th grade. In schools with 8th grade, 95% of the school grade is based on student achievement on annual assessments, with 5% based on credits earned through the end of the student's 9th grade year. And at the high school level, the scores reflect performance in subject content areas, the ACT, and graduation rates. This gain by St. Tammany Parish Public Schools occurred even as the state continues to transition students to even higher expectations. The district responded to these high expectations with a sense of urgency and put in place a district-wide plan to increase student performance and, ultimately, school and district success. This district-wide plan looked at data generated by all levels of students to pinpoint gaps and trend lines in order to identify and address issues that were impeding progress.
We look for the data that tells us what are the student weaknesses and what are their strengths.
Our main objective is to make sure that we're meeting the needs of each child.
In-place curriculum supports offered numerous professional development opportunities.
All that professional development is based on what our needs are and how we need to grow and improve student achievement.
Teachers were offered additional support in classroom management and discipline.
I thought it was important that we set the tone for a positive learning environment.
Additional community partnerships, such as the Community Ambassador Program and volunteer tutors, supported dialogue between the school district and the community. Quality assurance reviews increased, with teams of educators visiting targeted schools, acknowledging strengths and offering suggestions for improvement. The infusion of technology into the district's classrooms was another key area targeted.
They seem to work well with implementing new and more engaging lessons.
The district also supported teachers in utilizing EAGLE, the online assessment tool aligned to state-adopted standards.
It gives them the opportunity to assess how students are making progress.
As a result of this effective and all-encompassing district-wide plan and a team effort by school board members, educators, parents, the students, and the community, St. Tammany Parish Public Schools continues its tradition of excellence.
We know it's important to do that for our students. Our teachers are willing to take up the charge, and we're ready to move forward.
Moving forward with a rigorous and relevant curriculum for the children, supported by an active partnership with the community, and a firm commitment to reach and teach every child every day.
Ms. Zerby, on behalf of the school board, thank you for your staff, the teachers, administrators, everyone who really made this possible for us to not only remain an A school system, but move forward and be even a better A school system. So congratulations. And there is nothing, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Betancourt.
Ms. Araby, what is our, how are we looking with the graduation rate? I know we've been doing better with that.
We've had some increases with that. We do know with that rate that it is based on a lot of tracking. We noticed that as we got our overall results for the district, that it was interesting to note that such as our assessment index, which that is totally based on the data at the state, it's very clear technically that you get the results. And with the EOC, it's very clear. We had great gains in that, and that's just we get the information from the state on those results, as well as our ACT index increased as well. What we did notice is the other three areas that our accountability score is based on has to do with tracking, which means that when you're in a very large school system as we're in, that there's always that possibility that we're not doing as good of a job with the tracking of our students because of the large numbers. So to answer your question, that is an area that we continue to look at, our graduation index, but we know that that has to do when you're looking at a lot of students. If a student moves and you don't have that coded correctly, or if you haven't followed that student and you don't have those results, it turns out to be a dropout. So that is definitely something that we're keying into. And actually from the district level, we're looking at how we can assist the schools in that tracking so that we know that our data will be cleaner.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from board members or comments? Mrs. Hines.
Ms. Araby and staff, I just want to say that I think getting that plan in place and then implementing it as you all have is just the key to it all, and finding out what issues are out there and then offering support in the classroom is just the way to move forward. So thank you so much for doing that and doing it well.
Did you want to?
I just want to say how proud I am of all of the schools in our district, and I'm especially proud of the schools in my district. I take my hat off to the two principals, one of which is here tonight. So, very good job. Very, very good job. Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, with no further business, this meeting is adjourned, and we'll begin the next meeting in 5 minutes.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order for the St. Tammany Parish School Board Committee as a whole, meeting November 6, 2014, Business Affairs and Administrative. Roll call, please, Ms. Debbie.
Mr. Garman.
Here.
Mr. Hannigan. Mr. Jeter.
Here.
Mrs. Sealy. Here. Mrs. Mullet. Mr. Betancourt.
Here.
Mr. Womack.
Here.
Mr. Haynes. Mr. Lamar. Mr. Alfred.
Here.
And Mrs. Belisario. Here.
Thank you. We're going to dispense with the invocation and the pledge, and no one signed up requesting time on the agenda. So we're going to move into item 4, which is approval of minutes for the committee as a whole meeting held October 2nd, 2014. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Womack, seconded by Ms. Seeley. Any questions by board members? Any questions by the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? So ordered. Item 5, consideration of an intergovernmental agreement by and between St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office and the St. Tammany Parish School Board. Mr. Javia.
Thank you, Mr. Durman. Included in your packet is an intergovernmental agreement that we are asking for your consideration for tonight. This is an item that we've discussed in the past, and let me tell you that this committee working on this particular radio system began in January of 2012. And what this is an emergency radio system that will be used by all law enforcement agencies and all first responders within St. Tammany Parish. And it's the opportunity to have our employees to have direct communication with first responders and law enforcement agencies in the event of an emergency. The agreement is to help to pay for the infrastructure and maintenance of the program, and that's going to cost us between $50,000 to $55,000 a year for the next 14 years. But it's an opportunity for our principals at each one of our schools to have a radio, plus some personnel here at the central office level to have radios, that we would have direct contact with first responders and law enforcement should there be an emergency. I think all of you remember during Katrina, I think Mr. Fost talks about a satellite radio that he had to stand in one place and hold one leg up and one hand down until he got a signal. This would not work that way, of course. So we're asking for your approval of this tonight, for your recommendation. This would be agreeing to 70 radios by the school system. And that, like I said, each one of our principals would have them, and then some other personnel within the central office. And Mr. Fost, was there anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I think I was actually on the first committee when this was introduced, and it's just an opportunity for us to have instantaneous contact with any law enforcement or first responders at each individual school should hopefully they never get used and there's never a need for them. But this would be, I think, a peace of mind, money well spent to give us that instant communication whenever needed. We certainly would see it as an opportunity. Even if the school needed to be evacuated, the principal would be able to bring this radio with them, whether it be extracurricular activities at night, any of those different things that would have this opportunity to have direct communication with amongst ourselves as well as first responders and law enforcement. This is something that all governmental agencies are now going on. One of the stipulations that we had from the very beginning was that we would only be interested if each law enforcement agency and each first responder was part of this big new radio system, and that was assured to us as well will be in the documents that we make sure that that is part of it. We do think this is money well spent. We will be able to use some of our security bond money for some of the initial equipment costs of the radios, and then we will use our monies, as Mr. Jebbia mentioned, $50,000, $60,000 a year for 14 years. So when you think about it, it's on average about $1,000 per school per year, and I think that is money well spent to give us that instant response if hopefully never need, but if indeed we were to need it at any of our schools or sites.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to ask Mr. Durham, sorry, that this system is supposed to be in place by August of 2015. Should be working.
Okay, thank you. I would like to get a motion and then ask questions by board members. Mr. Hennigan moved, and Mr. Jeter. So we have a motion by Mr. Hennigan, second by Mr. Jeter, and now questions by board Mr. Betancourt.
Thank you, Mr. Durman. I would just like maybe something in there rather than go 14 years without hearing anything. I mean, some periodic updates on how it's working and any maybe cost increases or something like that. I think that would be prudent.
We'd certainly be glad to do that, Mr. Betancourt.
Sure.
Okay. You finished, Ryan? Yes. Mr. Lamar.
$50,000 a year, does that include the cost of the equipment?
No, sir, it does not include the cost of the radios.
All right, so that is how much?
That's going to probably be $1,000 to $1,200 a radio, but
For
we're probably
70
going to use
radios, so that's $80,000 for radios. Who's responsible for the maintenance of the radios?
That includes in the cost. It's included in the cost. Once you buy the radio, the maintenance plan comes with it.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Through the company that we're spending the $50,000 a year with?
No, the company that we're buying the radios from.
I bought a lot of stuff that's in warranty came with it, and it didn't really work.
Well, I mean,
I've got a car, and they didn't pay for everything to fix the car. So they're going to pay for everything to fix the radio?
yes, sir.
Is that going to be included in the contract and when we purchase
Yes, sir.
it?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, and we're expecting those radios to last for 14 years?
Oh, I don't think so, no.
I didn't think so either. So we're going to have that as a recurring cost periodically then, huh?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know what the trade-in on the radios would be and that type of thing.
We'll have that
But
for
it
you
would
for
be a
next
recurring
week.
cost.
We'll get that for you for next week.
Okay.
All right, you through, John?
Yep.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, I think it's prudent to do this because being proactive in this situation here, just in case if something does happen. So I'm in support of that because I think it's the right thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Womack, you got anything?
These are satellite radios? Is that what you said at inception?
No, sir. I made mention of satellite radio by Mr.
Oh,
Ross.
okay.
These are towers.
All right.
And every other agency, whether it be law enforcement or first responders, will be on the same towers. We will be in a quantity pricing advantage purchasing with these other agencies. We will not be buying as expensive a radio as, say, maybe a sheriff or a police officer, because they will be using theirs every day, all day. Ours will be used when needed at the individual schools. So we certainly won't need some of the higher-end radios that maybe a police officer would have each and every day of use.
Thank you. Mr. Hennigan?
Yeah, it does. Excuse me. The money does seem like a lot. I do know that after 9/11, et cetera, there was a huge realization that none of our agencies could communicate with each other, and I think that this is what this is trying to head off. So I'm in support of it. I hope they looked at, cell phones and push to talk and that stuff. $50,000. So what is that by a person that sits there and listens to the radio?
The $50,000 a year pays for the infrastructure, the towers, all the upkeep. This is a brand new system that's being built out. Right now, everybody's on different systems. So every agency will pay a share of that amount. That's our cost to be on the system and build the system.
And did the sheriff's office kind of spearhead this?
Yes, sir. And it's, I mean, there's a formula based upon everybody that has to pay you, based upon their number of units that are participating.
Okay.
And other agencies are joining in and paying the exact same amount per unit.
Per unit. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Seeley?
I know y'all are going to know that I'm asking this question. I'm curious as to when we have disaster problems, would this include the Red Cross, our regional Red Cross, having a connection with the system?
I can't answer that. I think it certainly would be prudent for the Red Cross to speak to the sheriff, and I'll be glad to do that as well, because a lot of our time we are dealing with Red Cross, as you know, with our shelters being, so it would certainly be an advantage to us, and I'll be glad to bring that up to them.
Thank you.
Well,
Ms. Seeley, you went through? Okay. Mr. Jeter?
I think that we just have to remember one thing when it comes to our children. Rule number 1, safety. Rule number 2, remember rule number 1. Thank you.
Very nice, Mr. Jeter. Any other questions or comments by board members? Seeing none from the public. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? So ordered. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jabby.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6, Mr. Jabby, you're up again.
The monthly maintenance and custodial report is in your package, and Mr. Singletary and his staff is here if you have any questions.
Any questions by board members? Doesn't appear to be any. Mr. Javion.
Monthly risk management report is in your packet. Mr. Gaspard is here.
Any questions for Mr. Gaspard regarding the insurance? Nope. Moving on.
And your monthly transportation report is in your packet. Miss Amy and her staff is here.
Any questions regarding transportation by any board members? Mr. Jeter.
I have a memo. Miss Amy, there's something that I read a little bit earlier. I don't know where it came from.
The report, the transportation report, Mr. Jeter?
No.
Okay.
I can answer that question, Mr.
Okay.
Jeter. I'll put it in your packet.
Well, I don't see anything that says, but I would like to have an explanation because it is in the packet.
I don't think that our staff.
Am I the only one with this?
No, everybody
think,
got one.
I think board members are the only ones
Yeah.
that got it. And it's not signed and it's not identified as to where it came from.
No, I put it by each board members. I had a couple of bus drivers come by my home today and asked me if I'd give each board member a copy of this, so I agreed to do it.
Mr. Womack, I don't have a problem with that, except I had no idea where it came from.
Yeah, well, I apologize for that.
Thank you, sir.
And if I may follow up on that, I think it needs to go through appropriate channels and go through administration and come to the board so that we can address whatever it is that needs to be addressed and give the administration time to review it as well. So okay. I think with all fairness, we'll just, if you don't mind, we'll just move on to that next item on our agenda. Which is item 7, which would be construction. Ms. Tipton.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The first item is consideration of bids for Fontainebleau Junior High new classrooms and music building additions, St. Tammany Parish Project number 1405. At your desk, there is a memo from myself to Mr. Foles. We received these bids on October 21st. We received 4 bids, and our budget was $11.2 million for the construction budget, and all of these bids are over that budget. So we are recommending this evening rejection of all the bids submitted for this project because all bids submitted are over the amount budgeted for the project. We are already in the process of going through the project, reviewing it. The architects and their engineers are making changes, and we are working to get this back out for bid as quickly as possible. We think it'll go back out for bid in the first part of December and bring these to you in January so that we will minimize the amount of time that's lost with this to about 2 or 3 months.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion, and then we'll, Mr. Betancourt moves on that. Second by Ms. Tipton. And then now we can kind of open it up for questions or comments by board members. Any questions from board members regarding Mr. Hennigan?
Not so much a question, but I fully support this move to throw these out. That's very high.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just too early in the game, too. You know, we're just starting this new bond issue with these projects, and we certainly don't want to set a precedent where people can be overbid and we accept their bid, so I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's certainly the feelings that Cameron and I had as well.
Any other questions or comments by board members? If I may, I echo that same sentiment when we're regarding a new project that's just coming out, and we got a lot of new bond issues that are going to be forthcoming. So, I mean, if we don't want to, you know, have a estimate as to what we're going to spend and everything comes in over budget. So we appreciate that. Any Comments from the public? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So ordered. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tipton.
Thank you. I have a short construction report next.
Okay, thank you.
Madisonville Elementary Classroom Wing Project. The contractor's on site. They've been really rolling with the weather like it is. They've completed excavation and the installation of the fill. You may have noticed if you've been by Covington High that the modular classroom buildings have been delivered this week and they're being set, and we expect the infrastructure work for those classrooms to start next week. Our Clearwood Junior High project is under contract, and that contractor will be applying for permits. We're scheduling the pre-construction meeting, and they expect to start work right after Thanksgiving. Fountainblue Junior Additions project is being revised. They're hard at work with that. Covington High and Pontchartrain Tchefuncte projects are advertised for bids. The Phase 1 project for North Shore High School, which includes the gym floor and ceiling and the renovation of the consumer science classroom to include the ProStart program, is also advertised for bids. We anticipate receiving all of those bids prior to the December and January meetings. All other project design documents are in various stages of progress, and we continue to meet with the design teams as appropriate. We've received some phasing plans for review for Pearl River High, and we're going to meet with that architectural team next week. We met with the design team for Bonnie Cole last week, and we've looked at some electrical service considerations for Slidell Junior a couple of weeks ago. We met with the architects for Carolyn Park today to review some phasing and finishes, and we're expecting delivery of the review set of final documents for Mandeville Elementary School tomorrow. We've also got the architects for Lancaster and Mayfield additions reviewing the project scope and getting those jobs begun or started. And at Woodlake, we're very happy to see that that's progressing and still on schedule. The HVAC system was started up this week. The ceiling grid is being installed, and they're working on finish painting and working towards all the finishes being done. So.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Dearman. I would just like to thank Mrs. Tipton because I really feel that your monthly updates are so beneficial not only to the board but also to the public, because it's a great general idea as to what is going on. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Very well said. Any other questions or comments by board members? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is business affairs. Ms. Prevost.
To consider and take action with respect to adopting a resolution giving preliminary approval to the issuance of general obligation school refunding bonds of St. Tammany Parish Wide School District Number 12 of the Parish of St. Tammany, State of Louisiana, making application to the State Bond Commission for approval of said bonds and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Mr. Sluter is here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Grant, you want to tell us what we're doing? Again?
Yes, sir. Grant Schluter with Foley Udell Bond Counsel. Yet another potential refinancing of your outstanding bonds. This involves the Series 2008 General Obligation Bond issue. These bonds have interest rates ranging up to 4.75%, and they go through the year 2028. This refinancing would not extend the debt, and it would simply reduce the payments on that bond issue each year. All savings will inure to the property taxpayers, and this preliminary approval resolution will permit us to file with the State Bond Commission for the December 18th meeting, assuming interest rates remain favorable after the first of the year. The underwriter can proceed with the pricing of the bonds and lock in the savings. If for some reason the market is not advantageous after the first of the year, this will be put on hold until market rates are appropriate to realize a level of savings consistent with State Bond Commission guidelines. But we will be 2 months ahead of the game. We will have State Bond Commission approval at that point.
Thank you. If I could, can I get a motion on this? Moved by Ms. Mullet, second by Ms. Seeley. Okay, I'm going to go to board members for questions. Mr. Hennigan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Schluter. So the proposal would be we sell some bonds now that would be used to pay back the 2008 series?
What we would do is we would refund the callable maturities of the 2008 issue. So those bonds would be redeemed on their first call date.
2018.
But once we lock in the rates for the new bonds, we will reduce the annual payments the school board pays on the outstanding bonds through 2028. Okay. The projected savings, according to the underwriter in the current market, is well over $2 million. And again, that all goes to the benefit of property taxpayers. That money can't be used for any other purpose.
Okay. And your thought for doing this now is that interest rates may go up between now and 2018?
Well, we're seeing some increase in interest rates already. What we would like to do is, with the permission of the permission of the school board, is to secure the preliminary approval, secure the State Bond Commission approval in December, and then see where we are after the first of the year with the market. But we are showing projected savings well in excess of the State Bond Commission guidelines at this point in time.
Do you think at the next time you come back you could show us a sensitivity of doing this a year from now? 'Cause
absolutely.
I don't think interest rates, all indications are to me, I don't see them going up, So.
Absolutely. We can have that for you for the board meeting.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, I think we did that once before, a couple of years back.
You finished, Mr. Hennigan? Yes. Any other questions by board members? I have one for you, Grant. I mean, we just had a bond sale here last week or so. What was the interest rate on that one? 3.86 or something like that?
If my memory serves me correct, that was about 2.89 or thereabouts.
2.8?
Yeah.
And some of these bonds are at 4 point?
They go up to 4.75%. The numbers that we've seen recently under current market was 2.56%. So it's a reduction of more than 2% of the
Which
rate
is
on the outstanding bonds.
Almost 50% of the interest. Quick math,
Yes, sir.
So anyhow, it may be worth entertaining that idea. So it was a little eureka. A little fun there. All right, seeing no other questions about the board members. Seeing any from the public? All in favor say aye. Oppose? Abstain? So ordered. Thank you. Thank you, Grant.
See you next week.
Okay. Monthly purchasing report.
The monthly purchasing reports are in your packet, and Mrs. Stevens is here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions by board members? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move straight into announcements by the president. Ms. Heinz.
Thank you, Mr. Durman. We would like to thank the students of Pontchartrain Elementary for the beautiful artwork on display in the atrium this month. Their art teacher is Ms. Paula Orso. We would also like to thank the many students who participated in the program in the atrium honoring our employee veterans. The schools that had students participating were Abita Springs Elementary, Shataima Elementary, Covington High School, Fontainebleau Junior High, Magnolia Trace Elementary, Mandeville Elementary, Mandeville Junior High, Pearl River High, and Woodlake Elementary. And they did a great job this evening. The teachers and sponsors working with the students were Mike Sambola, Christina DeRocha, Senior Chief Petty Officer Dale Robeson, Mel Rogers, and Donna Laurent. We also were honored to have all 8 high schools represented by the JROTC instructors and their cadet leaders. Tomorrow is Black and Gold Day. Don't forget to wear your black and gold to support the Children's Museum of St. Tammany Parish. The regular board meeting will be held on Thursday, November 13th at 7 p.m. at the Brooks Educational Complex in Slidell. So see you there next week.
Okay, Ms. Heinz, and Saturday is Purple and Gold Day. So go Tigers. Nothing else to come before us, so we're adjourned. Thank y'all. Have a great weekend.